Hello and welcome to today's Business Spotlight, where we are joined by Martin Nwangwa from Pepper Sneakers. Martin, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Hannah? You okay?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I am really good. The sun is shining, it is Friday, so it is all good. It's all good. Tell us, Martin, let's dive straight in. Tell us what you do and how long you've been doing it for.
Right. I formed Pepper Sneakers a few months ago, actually. The premise behind Pepper Sneakers is to provide corporate branded trainers and sneakers and branded safety footwear to companies, teams, event marketing companies, universities, sports teams, basically anybody who wants their name on the side of a pair of sneakers. I mean, normally people are used to seeing names on like logos on t-shirts or on polo shirts or on umbrellas or maybe post-it notes or coasters for like their tea or coffee, but not many get to see their name on the side of a pair of sneakers that they walk on. So yeah, it's kind of a niche area.
It really is. It really is. And relatively new as well. So a couple of months in. What motivated you to start the business?
Well, I've always looked at trying to do something within the fashion side of things, and rather than get my own set of t-shirts printed and trying to create a brand that way, it was probably easier to understand what was there and what I could utilize that would fall in very nicely rather than trying to draw attention to something. And I looked at sneakers and trainers initially and realized that there wasn't very many companies out there that actually provided this service. And if they did, if you go to, say, one of the bigger guys like Nike or Adidas or any of those bigger brands, yes, they could do it for you, but they would need to do a minimum order quantity of maybe 5,000, and maybe you don't need 5,000 shoes or something like this. And I'm certainly not Kanye West, so I'm not going to do my own Yeezy kind of thing. So one of the things I wanted to do was to do something that was affordable for smaller companies, up to 500 employees, say, for example, and maybe produce, maybe even a smaller company, say 50 people in their organization, and look to provide that same kind of unique service and allow them to at least offer or show their brand that way.
Yeah, I think as you were talking then, I was trying to think, have I seen anybody with their logo on their shoes? And there's one company that I think I've seen. Royal Mail is the only company that I can think of off the top of my head. So it really is a niche industry that you're heading into. You say that you wanted to do something in fashion. What is it about fashion that excites you?
Well, fashion, everybody had a pair of sneakers or trainers at some point in their life, which is, kind of, so I wanted to make it something that was, I knew was going to be long standing to start with. But again, I wanted to make a difference in the fact that I wanted to focus on sustainability.
Okay.
And so one of my, shall we say, USPs is the fact that the trainers and sneakers that we provide are fashioned in such a way that they work towards a net zero. Our soles, for example, are manufactured from reclaimed plastics that you find on the side of Indian Ocean, Indonesia, where we've had all these reports where you've got like plastics washing up on the shore, like empty Coke bottles and this and that. So we reclaim these and then we fashion those and we make the soles out of the reclaimed plastic, and also the uppers as well. We can have vegan uppers as well. So again, it kind of fits with the net zero message. And and I looked to fashion to see what they were doing in terms of the circular economy and how how Pepper sneakers could make a difference to that particular part of the market. And it's good because there are a few companies that are now starting to pick up on it. The big, larger companies hopefully will come on board at some point, because they manufacture so many pairs of shoes and stuff like that. And if we look at how much is being polluted, our oceans are being polluted, and how our planet is being polluted by a lot of these plastics, say for example, if we can, you know, utilize those plastics and make them into shoes that people wear, you know, that's got to be a good thing, right?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, absolutely. So not just having a footprint, and excuse the pun there with shoes, not just having a footprint in fashion, but having a footprint in the environment as well. I love it. I think that's so good. Has it been everything that you hoped it would be so far?
It has been getting the message across. I mean, people obviously, as I speak to people, and I give the message of what we're trying to do. They're enthused, and they have, because it's something they've never really thought about. And then when you propose it to them and say, well, you could wear this made out of this, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's really good. And so having that initial conversation has been really, really good. Motivated someone to switch from the brand that they currently wear into something that, you know, we provide, is the next trick. But you know, the talks that we're having, and the companies that we've spoken to, and the companies that we've worked with so far, you know, they've been very receptive. And one of my main aims was to work with B Corp companies. Primarily because a lot of the B Corp companies are signing up to a charter and their commitment, and how better to demonstrate that commitment by actually walking in the shoes and walking the talk as well as talking it as well. So it's like,
Oh, I
you know,
love that, Martin. That's so good. Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so
Wow.
it is everything that it's going in the right way.
Yeah.
But like anything else, as a startup, you have the same pains and the same imposter syndrome. You know what? Because it's like, what do you know about? You know, my background isn't sneakers or shoes or fashion or anything else like that. Mine's very much IT and
Right.
the business world. Um, Previously, I was a business advisor helping other companies with their businesses for
Yeah.
local government. And I spent, you know, 3.5 years through COVID, etc., keeping companies alive and afloat, and also helping them with grants and stuff, and looking at how their businesses grew, and business growth. And so I've amassed a bit of knowledge from collectively from working with all of these companies to go, okay, well, I advise to do that, or I wouldn't necessarily do it that way, or maybe I can perfect that way that I've learned from working with somebody else. So this is kind of like a kind of a combination of a lot of work over the last 3 years, and then put it into something, into a vehicle that I wanted to see how it works. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
really it.
You mentioned imposter syndrome there, and you certainly have an awful lot of experience to bring into your current company. Is there anything that is there a tool that you use, or is there a trick that you use that you can put your own mind at rest when you get those wobbles, when you get that kind of, oh, this is so different to what I was doing?
There's no
Tell me, I need to know.
there's no specific trick. I mean, to be honest with you, I think about it every day, about whether or not, you know, this is the right pathway. But then I got to be resolute to what I look at my original message to myself, the reason why I got involved and why am I doing this. The background and the basis of what I'm doing has always been there. And really, I always revert back to, why am I doing this? What's my message? What am I trying to achieve? And then that kind of helps me navigate anything that I need to find out about. If there's stuff that I don't understand, luckily, using LinkedIn, I connect with a lot of people that are working within the industry.
Yeah.
And so I can ask them questions. Some of them have been very receptive and very helpful. Some obviously not so helpful because they think I'm trying to be a competitor. But I think it's one of those old things that my mother always told me is if you don't ask, you'll never get. So, you know, if you ask a question and it's not threatening to somebody who's in the industry, time served, then they'll give you the answer, and or alternatively they'll point you in the direction that you need to find that information. It's always research, and that's how I get over the imposter syndrome, because what I don't know today, I'll certainly go and find that information, and I'll know that information today, and then there'll be something tomorrow that I don't know that I've got to have to find out. So it's always a continual thing until I'm ready to understand that, you know, I'm on it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so that imposter syndrome almost being like a tap on the shoulder of you just need to know more about this subject, as
Yeah,
opposed to, yeah, no, I think that
yeah.
is a fantastic, I'll take that as a tip. I'll absolutely
Yeah,
take that
I
as a
mean,
tip, yeah.
as a startup and obviously working with other companies before, you know, it's very interesting to walk in and because if you're in business and you look across the pond or you look across the way and you see somebody doing the same thing as you, or you see somebody else and they are always in the paper for being the best of this and they've won an award for that, and you and this and that and the other, and you've not won anything, or you're starting out and you wonder if you're good enough to compete with these guys. You know, it's the confidence really that you need to understand that you know, you can coexist with another person in another space. You know, you can have two barbers, you can have two of this, you can have two of whatever, you can have two petrol stations, whatever, in the same, you know.
Yeah.
And one might market themselves differently from another, one might appeal for the different, you know, group of customers and or whatever. It's really just having that confidence there. You know, you know, in this industry, it's a really niche thing to start with. Like I say, I'm not Kanye West. I haven't designed Yeezys or anything else like that. I'm not working with one of the big, you know, teams out there. You know, I'm me. I'm just doing. I saw something. I thought about it. I thought it through. I did my research, and I thought, yeah, let's go for it, and you know, let's see what happens.
No, that's a great outlook. That leads brilliantly into my next question, actually, which is, and you've explained a little bit about this, but what do you do that makes you stand out in the industry?
Well, first of all, I mentioned the sustainability thing. You know, I haven't come across many companies out there that push this message, and especially as governments are very, or society is very quick to say, yeah, let's do this for net zero, or we won't cut our grass for a month of May because we want to encourage this, and a lot of people, you know, talk it, but you know, it's about action sometimes, and it's about demonstrating that you've got something that is actually going to make a difference in a certain way. And yeah, it's about proving it really, and just seeing who comes on board. I'm excited to see who, and let's say from the conversations I've had with various different people and companies that, you know, and these are big companies as well. They're very keen to see what we can do, and you know, and the more people that come on board, the more the message gets spread, and obviously the more kudos or more visibility that Pepper Sneakers gets as well, for sure.
Yeah. I think with it being sort of a few months in, it sounds like you've had some really exciting and interesting conversations.
Yeah.
So growth and the speed of growth is going to be something that's going to be incredibly exciting for you. What would you say you would attribute this, the growth in these early days to?
Yeah, I mean, growth is something that I'm obviously conscious of. Being very new, I know that it's not very sexy to think about growing. And obviously, my plans and my goals for the company are to be a larger company, to have
Mhm.
people on board. I'm working with some really good partners at the moment, manufacturing partners in Europe that have been so supportive and were keen to work with me and what we were trying, or what I'm trying to achieve. And yeah, you know, there is a dream, like any business owner. I want to be the next Elon Musk, maybe, perhaps, but like, you know, it's not something that I can say, yeah, it's going to be this or it's going to be that. With the startup, it's small steps, and
Yeah,
it's making sure that your business is still viable for the next month and the next month and the next month and next month. And then after you've done a year, you go, oh yeah, I've done a year in business. And then so we start to say, okay, can we get through to the next year? Can we get through to the next year? And measuring that year on year growth. You know, at the moment we're measuring month on month growth. There's still a lot of expenditure that I've had to take on board. But you know, when the company turns and becomes profitable, or when I can turn around and say that I'm profitable, then I can start to say, yeah, okay, let's start making some plans there, and
yeah.
try not to run before I can before it's time.
Before you can walk, yeah. Do you have a business plan? I mean, you're talking sort of bigger picture there.
Yeah,
For your first year, second year, third year, do you have a business plan? Is that something that you've
yeah.
mapped out already? Yeah.
Yeah, the business plan came about, and and you know, it's very important. And I certainly know this from my time as a business advisor. It's very important for a business to have a business plan very early on, because you need to understand where you're going and what your roadmap is. Um, and without it, the suck it and see method these days doesn't work, because you know, as we know, with interest rates and everything else, and which is quite topical at the moment with the way that things are going, no one's quite sure what is going to happen tomorrow. And certainly coming through COVID, I learned that even the most established companies who didn't have a business plan suddenly fell foul of the conditions, because they just didn't have a plan B, C, and in fact D sometimes, because you need a plan D. And I think it's important, you know, if you're serious in business and you're serious about going forward, you need to have a business plan, no matter how small your business is. You need something in writing that you can say, right, this is what I intend to achieve, this is what I want to do, and this is how I intend to go forward. And then you can always refer back to it, you can tweak it. There's nothing, you know, to say that that plan that you've written is in stone. You know, it's a work. I always say a business plan is a work in progress, because and it has to be, and you have to be able to pivot. You know, if that road isn't working, or if that particular pathway isn't working, you need to be able to say, right, and identify that's not working, that's not down to my plan. So let's see what else I need to do. Do I need to change my plan? Do I need to change my business model? Do I need to change my product? Do I need to change my personnel? Do I need to change me? You know, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so it all revolves around that.
yeah. It's really interesting that you said, do I need to change me? I think that's really important. That's such an important point, Martin, because what we want to have in life is created from what we do, and what we do comes from who we are. And so being really honest with yourself, and that's quite a vulnerable thing that you've brought up there. Who do I need to be in order to achieve these goals, dreams, and aspirations? So that's such an important point, Martin. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for sharing.
for sure.
My next question, it catches business owners out all the time, because it's quite a big question. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Personal life. It's
What personal
um,
life when you're running a business, right?
yeah, personal life and business was so intertwined, because without your personal life, you have no business. Without your no business, you don't have personal life. It's that simple. If you want to go into business, it's going to impinge on your personal life at some point. So regardless with your relationships, for example, with your immediate family, that needs to be managed well. And there are times where, you know, you can get caught out because you have to attend this or you have to do that. And it's trying to find that, strike that happy medium and the right balance. Smaller companies, 1, 2-man, 3-man operations, maybe perhaps probably struggle more with this because they don't have a senior management team to offlay or offlay their workload to, and invariably at the beginning it's left to you to do the cleaning, sweeping, mopping, washing the teacups, wherever that is. So, you know, you're invested, and a lot of the time you invest yourself into your business because you want your business to work. All I'd caution any business owner is to understand what you're investing yourself and how much of yourself you're investing, because you need to keep some out, to keep some back for your personal life. You need to keep a modicum of yourself out. And, you know, maybe it might well be that you do your 9 to 5 and then you go home and you don't talk about work or whatever. It could be that, or you need to go home and you need to express for half an hour, whatever, to your willing partner that wants to listen to you, even if you talk to the cat. You know, I have a cat that I talk to, and you know, we have some good conversations sometimes, you know, about things, you know. But yeah, you need to have a separation, because all work and no play makes Jack really dull. So yeah.
Exactly. I love that you've got a willing listener in your cat. I
Yeah,
think
the
that's
cat.
absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
The cat
better
is
out than in, I think, isn't it? So
yeah,
get it, yeah, when it's swimming around in your head, it's doing nobody any good. So
yeah. But then if you join networking, or groups or business groups and or whatever, and you are in a room with like-minded individuals who are all going through the same journey as you are, then
yeah,
it's probably easier to maybe, and you can form some really good connections and some really good friendships, and maybe that can help not take the and that can take the pressures off at home or your partners and or whatever, because
yeah.
you know you can express that and you're probably going to get a better answer, for example, from somebody who's perhaps gone through that journey, stepped through those shoes. You know, you'll never understand anyone better than this, than if that person's walked through the same shoes as you. You know, I've run a business previously before, and you know, I've been up at 3 o'clock in the morning, wondering how I was going to pay a bill or how I was going to pay the HMRC, because that unexpected tax bill, or it was unexpectedly higher than I thought it was going to be. And, you know, paying staff or paying a contractor, you invariably will have that bump in the road, and how you deal with it, you know, is how your business will survive. And if you don't know how to do it, you obviously need to understand that you've got somebody there that you can talk to or express or whatever, and maybe get help for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a good point. Any good networking events that you can recommend? Where do you network?
I network in Leamington Spa, where I live, and there's lots of events on there. But I used an app called Meetup as well. Meetup
Yeah.
has some groups on there where, you know, especially in the larger cities, they've got a lot more people in them as well. And yeah, there's lots of if you look at your local growth hub, for example, they put on events, and Chamber of Commerce as well puts on lots of events and stuff like that. So you know, you'll always find you'll always find an event somewhere, and it's also good for you as well because for your business, because you can obviously go and talk about your business, and you know, potentially you can get a tie-in or joint venture or some new customers from that as well. So yeah.
Yeah, no, shout out to Leamington Spa Networking. It sounds like it's bustling, and a good shout with Meetup, because I'd forgotten about Meetup actually, and there's some really, really good groups
Yeah.
on there. So no, shout out to Meetup as well. What would you say has been your biggest learning so far with Pepper Sneakers?
Biggest learning so far is I don't know anything about I don't know anything about this market. That's my biggest, and it's the greatest thing because I'm learning, and it's good to learn about something each day. And it's, you get these little nuggets that come through that, you know, oh, I didn't know that you could do this, and I didn't know that that had happened, and I didn't know, you know. So I choose it. Every day for me is a learning curve, and yeah, I'm learning. I think my biggest learning point is learning to have fun in business. I think that's
Yeah,
probably my big, yeah, because I haven't, like I say, we haven't run a business before, and haven't had the headaches and stuff that running a business invariably gives you. Um, One thing I vowed when I set up Pepper was that I was going to have fun with it, whatever the scenario was going to be, whether it was going to work or is going to bomb. I just didn't care because I just wanted to have fun. I had the concept in my head, and I wanted to see if this concept works, and I wanted to see if I could fly with it, and you know, and I wanted to do it in a way that was fun.
yeah.
It's a fun product. It's, you know, there's nothing, it's not a scary product or anything else like that, and you know, it fitted within my narrative that I want to take forward,
Mm.
and it provides, you know, it provides a platform for people to put their brand in, their logo, however they want to do it, and also it helps the environment. So it was all about fun for me and stuff, and just making sure that um, I have fun running the company and building it.
I
You
think
know?
that's so important. Do you think as business owners, we often forget to have fun?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, I've talked to many, and I've talked to a lot of business owners, and sometimes you wonder whether or not whether or not they're running the business or the business is running them, you know, kind of thing. And it's just, and I get why they are the way they are, because it's tough. You know,
Mm,
if it was easy, everybody would be doing it,
true.
and you know, it's not easy being a business owner, especially in today's society, because there's so much noise that you have to cut through in order to get your brand or your product
Mm,
heard. And there's so many, and you only have so many seconds, if not microseconds, now to be in front of somebody in order to get your message across. It's really tough. But then you got to kind of caveat that against the reason why you did it in the first place. Why did you start your business? What made you want to do that?
mm,
And if you get back to those ideals and understanding, then maybe you can see the person that, you know, you started off with, and you know, you can progress to more. I'm not saying it's that easy, but what I'm saying is that, you know, you know, you don't have much, you have a finite amount of time on this earth, and so
yeah,
you might as well spend it being happy.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Find your why and remind yourself of your why, and have fun is the message that I'm getting loud and clear
Oh
from you.
yeah, for sure, for
Loud and
sure.
clear. I love it.
If you've got a why, it doesn't become like work. It doesn't become like, it's not hard because
Yeah.
it's fun, you know. And that was what I intended to do with Pepper Sneakers, and it's happening so far.
Well, then it's sure to be a success, which leads me brilliantly to our last question, which is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And are there any words of advice, other than have fun, that you would give other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
Where do I see myself in 5 years' time? In 5 years' time, I hope to be running a thriving and sustainable company that produces products for teams and the corporates and obviously businesses out there. And I want to have a lot more businesses, wearing our products, and not wearing our products because we're sneaker manufacturers, but wearing our products because we've made a difference to their company. We've brought their company out to the fore, to other people. So I want to see that happen. I want to have more people in my team. I've got a virtual team at the moment, and I want to increase that, but have them as a full-time employees. So yeah, that's what I want to focus on. And yeah, I just wanted the company to do well. In terms of what advice I'd give, stick with your business plan. Make sure that your business plan is current and is up to date, and you are following it as best as possible. And look up for opportunities. Look at having a background in IT. I used to marvel at the fact of how quickly things changed within IT and how many things came onto the market. Just as soon as everyone got used to doing this, something else came out that was better, faster, stronger, everything else like that. And then so we all threw that away and we all started doing that. And so keeping abreast of changes outside of your industry as well is good, and find out if those things can actually benefit your business. So for example, now the buzzword is AI. So everyone wants to know what AI is and how AI can affect, and AI is wonderful. I mean, I use AI in Pepper Sneakers quite a lot, with bits and pieces, and I've used AI to help formulate plans and everything else like that, and it's fantastic. Yes, it is scary, but yeah, looking at how you can integrate new methodologies and new ways of working within your business, and just go for it. Really, just go for it. That's what I say to any business owner. If you see something, spot a gap, whatever that is, just go for it. If it goes wrong, you can always change it. As long as you don't go too, you don't bet the house on it. Don't bet the house. I'm not saying bet the house, but yeah, you can always change it if it doesn't work.
I think that's fantastic. I think that's the perfect thing to end on. Just go for it. Just go for it. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you, Martin. It's been really great to know a little bit more about Pepper Sneakers. I think you're a couple of months in and I can just see your passion and that you're going to take this business forward. So I'm looking forward to watching that journey, and sharing your learnings with our listeners and viewers. So on that note, I just want to say a massive thank you, and I hope to catch up with you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hannah.
Thanks, Martin.